I think adaptability and resilience are the most important skills because no matter what we upskill in terms of specific technical abilities right now are going to be outdated 6 months from now. We are beyond the age where you send someone to a class equivalent to how to learn to do Excel macros. We're now in an era where it is no longer upskilling, it is apprenticeship. How are we going to help support this person across their career? Because we know it's going to change. So let's stop pretending that it's not going to change and let's start approaching upskilling from how do you move to a continuously changing environment without being stressed out, which is the employee's concern, without being overwhelmed, which is the employee's concern, without falling behind. All of those things come from compassion. And I think that's what we need to switch to. I actually specialize in learning and communicating how to adopt AI. And I think those are the big skills.
I totally agree with what Scott just said. I think what I would add is creativity and critical thinking. I think a lot of folks either hear or think that AI is, a panacea and the reason they think it's going to replace their job is because they think, Gen AI, ChatGPT can do everything. I don't have to think anymore. And that is far from the case. Any of the LLM tools that are out there are meant to be thought partners. They're meant to draw on your expertise and help you refine whatever you're doing, not to do it for you necessarily. And I think the more that we can help people realize that if they're open to it, they have an opportunity to rethink not only how they do their present job, but what their next job or, future job or how they do their job in the future will be, is something that rarely comes along. Usually, you have these shifts in the industry, like when we went from agile to waterfall to agile, for example, which come along and become buzzwords and then become meaningless. But if you really think about it, nobody does pure agile. What we do is take the best of it and make it work for us. I think we need to encourage that same type of trait in AI adoption.
I had written down a few things. It looks like Tamara just mentioned. I'd written down critical thinking and creativity were my top two. So resilience was there as well. So, and we have, these used to be known as the soft skills, but I think they're going to be relatively known as the deeper hard skills that we're going to need to have for the future. And I'll go back to something that Scott said, actually, which is the skills that we need are less buzzword, less, corporate speak, and just more natural plain English. Because I think that's how, human to human is going to essentially have to become. We're going into this world of AI where the oversight, the human in the loop is going to be really important. But we've got to understand what that framing means. And I think that's about understanding outputs and understanding where we take those outputs to create those outcomes that we want. So I think, humans need to be more human, I would say. I mean, it sounds odd, but we are, Scott just reminded me how we are going to this weird language, which I again, we're all, slightly some people are probably more technical around the table than others. But we don't need to speak in those tones and terms. So, I would echo everything that everybody said, but I think objectivity and, a certain level of, human values around how you are with others and what that means to be there in the moment, rather than this fleeting view of what AI is going to give us. I think that's something that we need to remind ourselves of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would echo everything we just talked about. And I 100% agree that critical thinking and problem solving, this type of skilling will be needed more, because as we adopt a lot of AI tools, it is definitely helping us reduce some administrative burden, but at the same time, it free up some time for us to do some strategic decision making And for those purpose, we need to upskill our people to go for critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, all this area. And one thing I would also like to add here is that with AI, as I said earlier, a lot of people are working with a lot of anxiety. What will happen to their job? Will AI take their job away? What do they do? So in that time, I think one upskilling that would be very helpful for leaders is lead with care, lead with compassion, be empathetic leader so that you can meet people where they are and help them navigate this situation, because a lot of things are uncertain. And even leaders don't have answer to a lot of things because these things are evolving. We don't know what will be the future ways of working. So in that case, it's really important for leaders to meet the people where they are. And that is why upskilling our leaders in these areas, like lead with empathy, lead with care, be resilient, all this is very important. I know we have always been developing our leaders in these areas, but I think with this time, it's needed the most because as we talked about trust earlier, if the leaders are showing these capabilities, these skills during their conversation with their team, it really makes an impact and it really creates a great trust in the team and people trust their leaders. So with we all trying to adopt AI, and when we try to reduce some administrative burden, freeing up more time for strategic thinking, I think leaders should take a lead here to upskill themselves in this area as well.
Well, I'm all in favor of that. That's for sure.